As of last month, Microsoft has finally started sunsetting its popular Windows 10 operating system, which ideally shouldn't be a deal breaker. But when you start taking into account how bloated and AI heavy Windows 11 actually is, things start looking grim. Now, you'd be thinking of forcing yourself not to migrate to a new operating system, and that is fine. Unfortunately, in the age of the internet, if your operating system stops receiving essential security updates, you can fall into serious problems, somewhat ranging from identity theft to financial ruin. Fortunately, many non Windows 11 operating systems can let you do the same productive work you do on a Windows operating system, but with the bonus of not putting up with the bloat and getting more control over tiny little things in your system. So, on Backdash today, here are some of the best Windows 10 alternatives. If you don't want to force yourself to put up with Microsoft's whims, because let's be honest, no one really wants a bloated operating system like Windows 11. On to the first entry for this video is Mac OS, which is an odd choice to begin our list with, I know, and some of you people might be a bit surprised as to why we added Mac OS into this list, but hear me out real quick. macOS has evolved to the point of being a true Windows competitor, with many applications having dedicated Mac ports, which includes video games. So, possibly if you wanted to play something like Resident Evil or even Hideo Kojima's Death Stranding 1, you pretty much can just play them at this point on a macOS because they are native ports. It just feels a whole lot more refined compared to like any other operating system and feels polished with very less frequent bugs nowadays. Yes, unfortunately, you will be locking yourself into the Apple ecosystem, which means you can, if you use, I don't know, like an iPhone or even an Apple Watch, everything will be in sync and you can just use everything together. And investing in the Mac means that you won't be able to upgrade or customize your machine to the same depth as that of a Windows alternative. But given that Hackintosh is pretty much dead in the water at this point, it's your only option. So, all things considered, it's a simple just works alternative that is better aimed at those who don't want to get their hand dirty. It just works out of the box, gets his job done, and you don't really have to put up with, Windows not getting themselves update anytime soon. But if you don't really want to invest on a Mac OS, then the second entry to this list is something you should look out for. On to the second point in this list is Bazzite, which is a free Linux distribution that is built on the foundations of Fedora Linux, which is one of the popular Linux distributions out there. So, for the uninitiated who do not know what Linux is, it is an open source operating system which is highly customizable. So, a lot of people make their own fork out of this or out of the original Linux operating system, so you're going to be getting a lot of stuff. Unfortunately, unlike Bazzite, a lot of these other Linux distributions, they're not really very user friendly, which Bazzite tries to fix quite a lot. First up, if you're a gamer, you would be glad to know that Bazzite is one of the best Linux distros out there because it is highly optimized for gaming and productivity, and it comes with a rock solid install base that is immutable. So if anything happens, there is probably some guy out there writing things up for you to fix by yourself. And even apart from that, this distribution is as idiot proof as it gets. You really can't change things outside of home partitions, which makes Bazzite very difficult to break. With its HTPC images, it pairs perfectly well with gaming hardware and can even be used to make your SteamOS living room gaming PC. So if you want a system that you can use like a console and in your living room, well, Bazzite is the way to go. And I know while this is very strictly a more gaming focused operating system compared to your standard productivity one, Bazzite still lets you do a lot of things once you get out of that gaming mode. So this is another operating system you should keep an eye out for. And if you're not very big on gaming in general and just want something very standard, which allows you to do productivity, which allows you to do work. Well, the next operating system is something you should look out for, and that is Linux Mint, which is one of the simpler options here, and it is recommended for the beginners. The installation process is that simple and supports a wide range of PC hardware. Mint also has its own application store, which lets you download a lot of open source alternatives to existing Windows applications. So if you want like something like Word, you can go and download Open Office, which is pretty much a good alternative to Microsoft Word, Microsoft suite of productivity softwares. And you can download a lot of other video editing software. You can download a lot of audio mixing softwares. The sky is the limit, and you can just find anything out there. The Cinnamon desktop is somewhat reminiscent of Windows 10 also, so it shouldn't really take you long to get used to the workflow once you install Linux Mint. And if you value privacy, security, and stability, it's just an added bonus because Linux Mint just comes with a robust backend things just pre-installed to make sure that your browsing and productivity experience is just as secure as it gets, and which makes Linux Mint a very great choice if you are not really into gaming and just want something which just gets your job done. But what if you don't really want to shift to Linux? What if you don't really want to shift to Mac OS? Fortunately, it seems Windows has another alternative for Windows 11, which isn't really that much bloated with all the AI features and everything else which you really do not need. And this one is going to be coming onto the next in this list. So the fourth entry in this list is going to be the Windows 11 LTSC operating system. So this is just an option for people who just don't want to put up with the Mac OSs or the Linuxes out there, and you just want a Windows which just gets the work done with the added securities that comes with Microsoft. So this is a pretty much a stripped down version of Windows 11 that features far less bloatware and nagware, and it is designated long-term support option. LTSC also has fewer strict system requirements, making it a lot more accessible to use and maintain, so you don't really have to once again put up with all the AI features which Windows 11 comes with. And it is waste for a reason though, as LTSC misses crucial components for gamers such as the Xbox application. So if you're a casual gamer who likes buying the Xbox Game Pass, in which case I don't really know why you are looking through this video, but if that is the case, well, you won't really be getting the opportunity of using that Xbox Game Pass on Windows 11 LTSC because it is as stripped as it gets. It is just there to get your job done on a Windows ecosystem. So if you're one of those gamers who love their Xbox Game Pass subscription, you might really be in a tight spot. But if you're someone who really doesn't want to ditch that Windows experience, Windows 11 LTSC is definitely a choice you should look out for. And finally, for the fifth entry in this list is going to be an operating system called Kashii OS. So if you're a power user and love to have absolute control over each aspect of your computer, then Kashii OS is for you. It bridges the gap between Arch Linux and end users, providing an easy-to-use installer wizard that does the heavy lifting of complex tasks for you. It also has an extensive wiki and excellent support for modern bleeding-edge hardware, making it a perfect choice for tinkerers. So if you are someone who likes to experiment with a lot of things out there, and if you want a lot of control over your operating system, well, Kashii OS is definitely a choice for you because you can just configure the minute details in this operating system and just fine tune it to your own needs. But the other downside is that this operating system is very easy to break. I mean, you are customizing things by yourself, so it's gonna break at some point. So unless you are willing to put up with it, this should really be your last choice when it comes to going for a Windows alternative. And that is it. That is our choices for some of the Windows 10 alternatives out there. Of course, there are a lot of other operating systems which are available on the internet, and that is where you come in. So do let us know what is your preferred Windows alternative out there, and what you should suggest. And if you have any sort of suggestions for any of the things we have said here, please do let us know down in the comments. And with that being said, this was Backdash, and we will see you in the next video.